Growing up in a small town was awesome because as a kid, you had way more freedom. You could run to your friend's house without your mom worrying. You could skateboard and ride your bike everywhere because there weren't a lot of busy streets, and you just had a ton of friends because everybody knew each other. Most of my childhood was spent in Hot Springs, South Dakota, in an old sandstone building that my parents and my cousin's parents bought and turned into a hotel. So think like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, except instead of two blonde twin boys, it's a shit ton of kids from two different families all sleeping in storage units that we turned into bedrooms. I shared a room, or storage unit, with my cousin Joe, and my cousins practically became my siblings. All of us youngest baby shits from both families stuck together like butt cheeks on a hot summer day and would do dumb shit like make home movies with our friends and throw stuff off of the roof of the hotel and pee off the roof and sleep on the roof. And we really liked the roof, and we really liked video games too. That is, until our parents decided that we weren't allowed to play video games, which is ironic given my career now, and I constantly remind my parents of that. But yeah, for a good chunk of my childhood, my parents banned video games, forcing me to set up a tiny CRT TV and a PS1 my friend gave me in a storage closet in the hotel to play Tony Hawk in secret because nobody was going to stop me from doing those McTwists. And I'm not lying about any of this. But in 4th grade, my cousins moved away, which sucked. And then a couple years later, at the end of 6th grade, our parents basically did a switcheroo where my cousins moved back to take care of the hotel, and my family moved to their house in Colorado. It's all super weird. So I said goodbye to all my friends, moved to Colorado Springs, started 7th grade at the Cheyenne Mountain Junior High, and immediately wanted to be hit in the face with a Subaru. Middle school sucks for most people, and I was definitely no exception. I was the new kid. I had no friends. I had this awful shaggy hair that I'm sure I thought was cool. I was starting to get zits all over my stupid face. I started realizing my vision sucked when I couldn't read the marker boards anymore. Things were not optimal, but they did get better. I had started playing the drums a couple years prior to moving, so I decided to join the jazz band and see if I could be the drummer. And it turned out I wasn't a complete dipshit and was actually pretty good at something.
I have talent!
So my life basically started to revolve around playing the drums. I took lessons, I learned a shit ton of Latin beats, I played in the talent shows with my friends, and yeah, I started making some really good friends. I still had the awful haircut and a bunch of zits, but now I had friends too, and damn it, that's what's important. So that continued into 8th grade, just playing the drums, playing a little bit of piano, and hanging out with a growing variety of friends that I still keep in touch with to this day. But also, because my parents finally stopped caring about me quote-unquote rotting my brain with video games a couple years prior and let me start playing them again, I still had a shit ton of making up to do. So when I wasn't playing the drums, I was playing video games. I didn't have an Xbox 360 or a PS3, I just had a PS2, and my family, like many others at the time, got a Wii, but I didn't care because I was plenty busy catching up on games like, I don't know, Vice City, Shadow of the Colossus, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Kingdom Hearts, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I mean, I could keep going for like an hour. My point is just that the PS2 library is ridiculously good. But in 8th grade, my dad's work must have been going swimmingly because one day he just randomly bought a giant-ass HD TV and a PS3 for Blu-rays because a PS3 was just as cheap, if not cheaper, than most Blu-ray players at the time. And also, I think he knew that I would be stoked out of my mind if I got to play a PS3, and he was right. Evan Seymour is pretty cool. He's 10 out of 10. So even though I couldn't afford any games and would just play the demo for Skate over and over and over again, I was peeing my pants. But as my regularly programmed schedule of play the drums, then play the video games continued into the Cheyenne Mountain High School for 9th grade, my parents decided to pull yet another switcheroo. So after making a new set of friends and going through some very transformative years with them, in the middle of 9th grade, I had to say goodbye again because we were moving back to the hotel in South Dakota. But before I moved back, one night all of us jazz band kids were at a very nice boy named Jesse's house. And I didn't ever get as close with Jesse as I was with some of my other friends, but Jesse was just the nicest dude. Like, seriously, you could ask anyone about him and they would never have anything bad to say. He played the trumpet, he played the metaphorical trumpet of our hearts. He's just a super solid guy. And Jesse also had a PS3. And as he saw me admiring his collection of games, he more specifically saw me looking at Bioshock. And while I had heard all of the amazing things about it, I had never actually gotten to play it. And I remember he said something like, "Oh man, Bioshock is super good. You played it, right?" And I said no. And then his eyes widened and he was like, "Oh dude, you need to play this game." So because I was moving and I couldn't really borrow it, he just gave it to me. Fuck. This kind-ass dude was generous enough and, God damn it. I'm crying in the club right now. This kind-ass dude was generous enough and loved the game so much that he just straight up gave it to me just so I could play it. What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Yeah, that song was written about Jesse. So I moved back to South Dakota, Bioshock in hand, excited to see some old friends, but also super nervous because the last time I saw them, I was in 6th grade. My first day back home basically felt like my first day in Colorado. When I talked to old friends, I had no idea how to act, and people looked at me like I was a stranger. And I don't blame them because it's super hard to immediately reconnect with someone, especially when they're suddenly super tall and covered in zits and a lot more depressed than how you remembered them, and vice versa. All of my old friends looked and sounded different and had fucking Adam's apples and titties now, so the first couple weeks back were rough. My old friends were now kind of my no friends, and my new friends in Colorado were now my old friends. And at this point, all of my older siblings weren't living with my parents anymore, so it was just me, a hotel room that used to be a storage unit, and Bioshock, and it was amazing. Bioshock is a very unique game. It's a game about an underwater city built by a guy who read a little too much Ayn Rand. It's a game about killing people in the most creative way possible. It's a game about free will and betrayal and horror and love, and it destroyed my 15-year-old brain when I played it. From the second I entered that lighthouse, I was gone. I was no longer in a hotel in South Dakota. Because it offered the same thing that all video games do, an escape. And what a goddamn escape Bioshock is. The city of Rapture has an atmosphere so thick you could drown in it, and not just because it's a city underwater. And the Art Deco architecture is gorgeous, and the attention to detail is ridiculous, and there's just so much storytelling in the environments alone that it feels smothering at times. It's a setting that somehow feels so real, despite the fact that it's a city underneath the fucking Atlantic Ocean. And it was the exact perfect time in my life to play Bioshock because at that moment I was lost. Home didn't feel like home, and I didn't want to be in that hotel alone on a Friday night because I sucked at making friends or old friends or whatever. I wanted to be under the Atlantic Ocean. I wanted to explore a decaying city. I wanted to see what kind of sick shit Sandra Cohen had planned in Fort Frolic. I wanted to find out who Atlas was. I wanted to meet Andrew Ryan, and maybe I just wanted to light someone on fire and then electrocute them. I don't know. I'm just super grateful that a game like Bioshock even exists because it gave me an experience that consumed my thoughts and fears and invaded my brain even when I wasn't playing it. And it's not perfect, and I have a bunch of issues with it, and the last boss fight is garbage, but all I know is that the second the credits finished rolling, I started a new game. And the only reason I even had this amazing escape to help me through a shitty time was because a really nice boy named Jesse was generous enough to give me a video game. You gave me a lot. I'm not really sure what the point of this video is, but I guess just be generous. Be kind to people because you never know how much they might need it or how far it'll go. Bioshock let me escape my life for a bit until things got better, and they definitely got way better. But It also taught me a lot about the potential that video games have, whether it's the gameplay mechanics or storytelling or world building or all of the things, and it definitely influenced the passion for video games that created this channel. I never really did anything for 300k subs, but I got super sick last week, and I was thinking about this time in my life a lot for some reason, so I just wanted to share it with you. Video games mean a lot to me. That's probably really obvious at this point, but they've helped me personally. They've brought me and my friends closer together. They've created friendships for me, and they're just super important, and I'm super grateful that they exist.